What I teach we can be. Oh, let me finish. When it comes down to providing for the home, beat them. You get there and you get to work first to make sure you're paying the bills. When it comes down to standing in the home, beat her. You ought to be example in your home. When a man physically put his hands on a woman, I totally disagree with that. I don't agree with that.
You almost got shot up here tonight. You know that, right?
I asked you for a helmet before I got here. And y'all still got to love me when it's over.
You said that Bible schools, the seminary,
yes,
messing people up.
I totally agree with it.
You don't agree with seminary?
I don't.
Why?
Because,
I don't get it.
Well, a lot of times you start dealing with logic, and that kills people. When you look at biblically, and it goes right back, it's amazing how we can take the Bible and we want to raise money, bring y'all the tithes into the storehouse, robbing God. When it comes down to other things he say, we just, casually throw it out of the door. The Sabbath, there's so many different things we throw out of the door when we don't want to do it. And seminary start dealing with logic. What was going on at that time? What were the people doing? What was the culture? Apparently the people were disobeying the word. The people were just like the people doing now. And people always use it for an excuse when they don't want to obey the Bible.
Okay, how about this? Why did you say, because I'm hitting these bullet points, because we only got 30 minutes.
Child, let it roll.
So I got to let it roll. Donnie McClurkin had a song, We Fall Down, But We Get Up. Remember that?
I remember it.
You said that he's going to hell.
Damnable doctrine. I don't believe in it. The book of Jude.
Stop. He's saying we fall down, but we get up.
He probably do fall down. I can't speak for. I don't. The Bible in Jude. I'm gonna give you Bible. Jude, the 24th verse. If you read Jude, the last book before Revelation, he said, "Now to him that's able to keep you from falling and present you faultless." How is it that we're going to sit around and profess to walk and live right, and then we're still committing sin? Then we're still back into the old behavior what we had before grace and truth came.
But why is he going to hell for that?
I just look at the doctrine that they spread it now. I'm sure I had a little more I said into it than just his song alone. If I did, I'm sure it was more than I said. I don't agree with this type of thing. A lot of songs, it just basically put people into a parameter of believing you can still do anything and still be saved. A saint is a sinner. When have you ever seen biblically where he called a saint a sinner? That would make as much sense as me going out here and I'm drowning, somebody pull me out of the water and I'm walking around and say, I'm a saved drowner. 10 years from now, I ain't where I ought to be, I'm a saved drowner. How much sense to me? You look at me like a fool.
You have a problem with divorce.
Uh-oh.
The church, no one likes divorce. No one has to go through it, wants to go through it, but you have a definite stance on divorce.
Yes,
and I want to know, if someone went through a divorce and they come to your church and they're now married to someone new and they want to join your church, what do you say to that?
Well, the problem begins to come into, back to sticking what's biblical. It always go back even to the beginning when Jesus told the apostle from the beginning it was not. So he went back to what God set up in the garden. It was one man and one wife. Even when Eve caused Adam to transgress because of his disobedience, he did not tell him, well, you need to get you another wife. That was still his wife. There are situations where people get into marriages where either it's abuse or another person going outside a relationship or another person is what I call, trisexual. Are you familiar with that?
Try anything.
There you go, boo. Try anything. So what begins to happen is you're in a situation where you can't stay in when something's reckless. So I tell people you got to abstain. I believe that God is a keeper. If my wife today came up, whatever the situation was, there's no excuse for me to get another. Why she lived? But that covenant I even made was to death do us part. Then you got to be a liar. Why did we put in there to death do you part instead of saying until he cheats or she gets drunk or get on crack? We say to death do us part, then what happens? Everybody got the same excuse. My husband, wife didn't treat me right. Let me see, for better or for worse? I left mine because we had financial problems. Let me see, rich or poor. So that makes you a liar.
So if a person cheats,
yes,
do I still have to stay according to yours?
No, I don't believe you have to stay, but you can't get another one, boo. Can't get another one.
What?
You can't get another one.
So wait a minute. I'm with a man. He cheats on me.
Yeah, he's just no good rotten. Go ahead.
And you permit me, as my pastor, let's just say, for me to leave him.
Yeah, I believe you can separate from him.
Separate, but I can't get a divorce?
No. That's still yours.
He keeps cheating on me. He won't stop.
I wouldn't go back to him. I wouldn't lay with him while in that condition. I wouldn't do it.
But I have to stay with him for the rest of my life?
Yes, ma'am. To death do your part. It was you made the statement. You said to death do your part. You said I do. I mean, we got to start putting people. This is the problem. People will say we're saints, And we saying we saints. And we saying our word is our bond. And that's what people got to learn. What comes out of our mouth? We say you speak words that exist and words have power. So when you say I do, there's no power in that. Heart.
That's your people?
Thank God for them.
Yeah, that's the people you brought with you.
Some good brothermen too.
One thing that I do want to say about the people that you brought with you, and you can speak on that. When praise and worship was going on, we had some wonderful praise and worship. Those guys didn't even move. They didn't worship. What's the deal with that?
Well, I mean, I was in the back. Y'all had me in a room back in the back with a cup of water, and the tea was good. But I mean, I guess what people call worship is it's different for everybody. You know, sometimes people believe in just the hollering and going, that kind of stimulates and kind of get them going. But everybody's different. We believe in living it. You know, we believe in it's got to be on a lifestyle that when you praise God and when you giving, when you saying omnipotent and all these things, then we got to have a behavior. We got people.
Do you have praise and worship at your church?
Yeah, oh, child, yeah.
Do they get on the keyboard?
Yeah. No, not right now. Nobody can play. I don't like bad music.
Okay, so
we got drummers and all that good stuff.
But we had that here, and they did not move a muscle. They didn't raise a hand. They did not do anything. They were just like this. I mean, everybody else was standing and in worship, and they did nothing. Obviously, there's a doctrine behind that. Obviously, you have some. What do you say to them that made them not want to?
Oh, I didn't say nothing to them. I didn't talk to them and tell them nothing. I didn't tell them they're going there not to do it. I didn't say one word to them.
But
I just told them I see them when I get up here on stage. That was it.
Really?
Well, I mean, our thing is this: you watch before you do anything.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of times people leap in with both feet and don't even know what's going on. They don't know if a homosexual is going to run from back there with a string on, start skipping across the stage, and they jumping up in there and saying, whoa. So a lot of times you watch and you learn and you try to see what's acceptable, what you do, and what it is that you believe.
You ever come into a church and just feel free when the power of God, do you not recognize the power of God when it's in the room?
I recognize
and come
the power
in and
of
just
God.
start raising your hand? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Where you walk into a church and you feel so liberated because the Spirit of the Lord is in the room, and that causes you to lift your hands in worship. When we were in worship, those guys were sitting and they looked like they were like anti what was going on, and they were like looking at everybody else. So obviously you kind of teach them to watch and pray.
Jesus even said watch as well as pray.
I got you.
So
I just wanted to know
I don't teach people not to worship. We believe in it. He would tell them that the Father was seeking some true worshipers that were going to worship in spirit and in truth. You just can't have just a go, and you see something that's contrary to what you believe.
So when do they worship? Because we worship for like 20 minutes. When do they get down?
We don't.
When is
we worship and have. We might do that for an hour and some change.
Really?
I mean, yeah, we do believe in worship. And then we believe in you're going to come along, you give people teaching so they know what they worship. Jesus condemned the folks in the woman at the well. He told me, you worship, you know not what. A lot of people worship it, but they don't know what they're worshiping.
Gotcha.
We've introduced so many things in that doesn't line up to what we see. And we got to, just like your kids. When your kids walk in everybody's house, they got dinner, you tell them to eat.
Got a question.
Go ahead, boo.
T.D. Jakes is a false prophet?
Pretty much.
Notice that the people are clapping are his people.
By their fruit ye shall know them. He ain't the only one. There's a whole list of them, boo. You ain't got enough paper to write all of them down there, do you?
Why is T.D. Jakes a false prophet?
This is the problem that most people do. People kind of just interact and line up and start rejoicing in things because they hear some woman died or loose. You can't loose people from something that the Bible puts them under a restriction of doing. No man has that power. We have to keep, there's a certain subject order that has to be done. The Bible clearly gives us that. People say the law gives it, the law stop. Paul came along and strictly told the Corinthian church, let your women keep silent in the churches. Told me it was not permitted them to speak. For they're commanded to be unobedient, as also said the law. Which preacher come along and said, which done away? New Testament. But when Paul said I can do all things through Christ, that's strength me. Ooh, Paul.
Which brings me to my next point. Let me throw out some names to you. Okay. Joyce Myers.
Yes.
Paula White.
Go ahead.
Jackie McCullough.
Yeah.
Juanita Bynum.